Today is August 23, 2025. I am here with Will Robertson from Utah, from the great state of Utah.
The Beehive State.
Yes, you got a lot of books in the background, so I'm getting a little intimidated already. You have a lot of reading going on.
This is all mostly related to theology.
Wow.
So I'm into religion and philosophy.
Nice, very nice, very nice. So well-educated and self-educated, I might add, because actually, didn't you tell me that you were a self-taught coder?
Yes, I've been coding for like a little over 20 years, and I taught myself how to code. And I mean, I say I taught myself. I started off, on my own reading. I didn't go to university, but I met friends, mentors along the way. Mm-hmm. And similarly with trading, started teaching myself to trade. And then now I'm meeting mentors along the way that actually know what they're doing, give me better guidance.
Nice. So the brief conversation, you just went through a 2-day event with me, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so your prior experience, I want to get into your prior experience here. So in your own words, have you read any books, videos?
Yes. I read like all the classics, the Trading in the Zone. I read the Best Loser Wins. I read Market Wizards. I read, a few others. I'm trying to remember all of them, but nice. I read quite a few books and then absorbed like basically everything that I could find on YouTube.
Nice. And did you pay for any other courses or?
Yeah, I was programs? Part of the only other group I was involved in was the Mission FX, Nick Sean's group. Mm-hmm. When I first started trading it's been about 2 years, and I encountered him towards the beginning of my trading journey and was part of that group. He's like Discord, and that's actually where I first met you. And you just kind of were in the, how could I word this? Like,
this is a no, you can say anything you want channel.
Okay. Well,
we don't hide skills.
I was impressed by your consistency. And there were certain things that you were saying that really stuck out to me, like the importance of margin and how margin is key and being able to breathe with the markets. And you were talking about how you don't typically like to use a stop loss. And like those things were new to me. And I was like, what is this guy doing that's different? And at the time, I was involved in his group for a few months and then dropped off. And then I just have been trading by myself, mostly Forex for most of the time. And then I would say around December, I switched to futures and started trading with Top Step. I had a few friends that convinced me that futures would be better than Forex for various reasons, the spreads and or lack of, I should say. And so I decided to give it a try, and I've loved it. But I remembered you, and I do feel like over time I've gotten better at trading, but you always say it's a skill, and that I do jujitsu. I also my kids do dance and also jujitsu, and it's very common that we'll pay private coaches to be able to help level up the skills. And I was like, why have I not done this with trading? And like, I really should just invest the time and money in having a conversation with somebody that has been doing this for far longer and is way more consistent than I am to try and help improve my skills. And so that's when I reached out to you, and here we are.
So I was a little controversial to my dad, right? I mean,
totally in the group, you upset a lot of people.
Did I purpose? Looking at me now and understanding me and how I trade, did I do that on purpose?
I don't know how can I word this? I don't know if you did it intentionally. It's just that a lot of your knowledge is kind of counterculture. It goes against a lot of the common conceptions of trading. And so it rubbed some people the wrong way. And there's also that effect, like when somebody's doing really well, that's how you really discover your true friends, by the way, like the people that are rooting for you and stuff when you're doing well. I think that on particular days, like you can imagine being in that group, and if people are taking trades and they're not going that well, and then here you come rolling in, showing all your P&L and how you're just like crushing it day in, day out, eventually people started getting frustrated, like their egos were hurt. They also felt like, this can't be real. There's no way this guy is winning this often. And so they just started questioning it. It created quite a lot of drama, that's for sure.
So after the 2-day event, would you consider me being a real person and
100%.
market?
Like I feel like I'm pretty good at being able to detect bullshit. Like I've got a pretty good meter. I've been
Bullshit
around.
meter.
I can tell it when, like, I will say this, like for the longest time, I'd been sort of watching your videos from afar from time to time, and you talk a lot about trading objectively. And I remember thinking, like, how the hell could he be saying that he's trading objectively? Because from my personal experience, like, so much of trading feels highly subjective. Like there's people are basing systems around what they think will work, or based off of like a hunch and intuition, things like that. And so I was like, what is it that he has that is objective? And so I will say, going into it, I was a little skeptical at first. Like, it's not that I was a skeptical. I was very open to receiving whatever information you had, but it's kind of like if someone says that they have knowledge, like special knowledge of something, I think you should always be skeptical of those types of people, because it's like, do you? Having gone through the experience, I could say you definitely have a skill. You definitely have found something objective. And I'm very happy to have come across, paths with you, because I do feel like I'm already looking at the charts entirely different than I had been before our lessons. So yes, you are certainly a real trader with a real skill that is objective. That's for sure.
Nice. So okay, so you recently went through the 2-day program, and in 2 days, if you could look back to what we've learned in just 2 days, compared to what you've learned since you started and reading the books, did you find any of the information that I was giving you in the books?
No.
And YouTube, in other programs?
No, and that's how I knew it wasn't bullshit, because you were telling me things that I had not encountered before, and there were very specific things that I don't want to reveal the sauce here, but there are very specific things that you showed me in the charts in several different instruments across time that were very repeatable, and it was very objective. And I was surprised because, like I said, I've like to think that I have dug in very deep and been exposed to many different trading, like just trading content, trading books. And yeah, you were showing me stuff that it was new to me, which was exciting, because I was like, wow, this is new. This is something unique. And so I was happy to see that. You know what I mean? It's not like you said, I have some special knowledge, and then you started busting out the charts and showing me, I don't know, like support and resistance or something, It's like,
I debunked that, right?
Exactly.
So I kind of destroyed that all up, didn't I? So I'm not a support and resistance fan, because it's full of shit. But,
yes.
And I can show that, I can prove it. So when we say that something is new, which is kind of interesting, right? Because it's kind of like the new kid on the block, and nobody wants to believe somebody that had something ingested inside them for such a long time. And my point is that it might be new information, or something that's new to you, or something that you've never ever experienced or heard of before through books, psychology, teachings, YouTubes, and stuff like that. But did I not show you that we went back 15, 20 years and explain to the community what were your thoughts?
So we went through several different instruments. We went through like the S&P 500, gold. We dug into several different stocks. And we're looking at the charts from all these different instruments and across time. And it was shocking how precise and accurate what you'd showed me was, and repeatable. It literally, like, as I'm watching it, it felt like you'd found like a glitch, like in the Matrix, like it's like this thing that has been right in front of me this whole time, and I couldn't see it until you showed it to me. And then I remember you saying, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's true, because the last couple days I've been watching the charts, and it's like there it presents itself. And it's pretty crazy. I don't know. I'm still trying to like process that. Like, what does this mean for the markets? It does. Having gone through this experience, I've always known the markets are manipulated, and they're highly like, they're just fake. They're pretty fake. And
a lot of people used to laugh at me because of that.
Yes,
it's fake.
Which I get why you say that though now, because it's even faker and more
And now
manipulated than
that you
even
know
I
that it's
thought.
really fucking fake,
Yes.
right? I mean, say whatever it means. I mean, knowing what you know now, what does that say to all of the losses that you had? What does that say to all of those nights that you weren't able to sleep, or you thought that, what's wrong with me? You were an engineer, like a coder, right? I mean, correct me if I'm
Software
wrong.
engineer.
Software engineer, a coder, self-taught, self-made, that can code things. And one thing that stuck out about you the other day when you made a comment, you said, I don't think this can be coded.
Yeah, it was.
That's amazing.
That's
Like,
why I'm
to hear
still
that.
sitting within trying to process it. Like, what is happening here? Like, you stumble upon something? Yeah, like, is it something that someone deliberately encoded? But the thing is you got to think back, like, when the markets were created, and
Well, they weren't created for you and I. They were created for the elite,
yeah, and
right?
it makes you think, like, how many people are aware of these specific, like, algos and are just profiting off of them, while everyone else is thinking that this is real, and they're painstakingly looking at, like, the economic calendar, or reviewing, like, a company's, like, revenue and all this kind of stuff to try and come up with these models to help them know when to buy, when to sell. Meanwhile, there's just this other like system that's running within the system.
Yes, and I figured the system out, I believe, like, in my way. One thing that I give pause on is I don't read books, first of all. I read stuff like I would rather read someone that maybe posts something or some information that I'm maybe some doctor information, something like that, or studies, or various things. And it doesn't matter what, but I'm self-taught too. I mean, I'm self-made also. So nothing was ever handed to me. And I believe those that are self-made understand what that really means is how much time that you put into something that you had a passion for.
Yeah.
And you would never, ever quit. Rather than just assume that somebody got a lucky break, right?
100%.
But what's interesting is what I showed you the last couple of days, that I've never heard anybody that claims to be in the market for 40 years and 50 years that are down on Wall Street, and not one of them has ever mentioned or even came close to what I teach. And I don't know if you can elaborate on that or not, but I've listened to a lot of business people. I've listened to a lot of traders. I've listened to podcasts, to best trader in the world, to all of this stuff. And like I said, I took $1 million. I took, a paper account to $1.1 billion, and with 304 trades, 100% hit rate. And it wasn't like I was trying and trying and trying, but I don't understand why I have not heard what I teach.
Yeah, and I was trying to dig into that with you. Like, how is it that you even stumbled upon some of these things? Like, was it one moment that hit you and it just occurred to you, like, whoa, and you saw it and were like, wait a second, and went back? Like, because why aren't other people catching on to this is the question. And I do think, one thing that you said to me is, like, the markets, it's the way the charts are is like they're meant to kind of deceive you. Like, they're bright. The candles are going up and down. There's a lot of numbers. It's almost like trying to overwhelm your senses and get you in this, like, confused state. And I don't know, I just think it's really, perhaps it's your background, as a detective, like being able to kind of sit back and, like, really parse the information and look for clues, and, like, and it, I don't know, like, I don't know why other people haven't stumbled upon this, but it's very, very different. When I was doing the chart, so, there was this moment when you and I pulled up the charts, and then I started marking up the charts and trying to implement some of the things that you were teaching. And I told you that it felt so backwards to me. Like, you remember that movie Independence Day? There's a scene when Will Smith, he's, like, in the spaceship, and he goes to, like, with the throttle, and he's thinking he's going to go right up, and instead he wham, like, slams into the back of this wall, and then he grabs the piece of paper that shows the directions and is like, flips it. He's like, oh, there we go. That's how I felt. Like, almost everything that I've been taught was inverted in a way. Like, it was backwards. And so even marking up the charts, like, felt weird, because I'm like, this is so different than what other people have been showing. It was
for years and years, 25, 50, 60 years.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it goes back, way back. Right. And I also showed you about indicators that are not correct. without getting into details, correct?
No, I mean, and I think most people who dig enough into trading feel like are suspect of indicators. A lot of people call them like lagging, or that it's just price represented in a different format. It takes price and just tries to present it in some kind of different way, and often lagging from what the candles are showing you. So there's a lot of people that are already kind of suspicious of them, but you showed me a way to use specific
use it against them.
Ones.
Correct.
Yes.
Use it against them.
Exactly.
So we're using it against the elite. So whoever created all this shit, we're onto you. Or at least agreeing with the markets, we're onto your ass.
I'm excited, man. After we did our lessons, I went and took a trade with I was just looking through different instruments, and I took a trade. It was actually a USD JPY, and
as I cringe, I'm like, oh,
I know you don't love Forex, but
Forex. I mastered Forex, but I'm like, oh god,
I know.
It's like alley cat. That's Forex is like an alley cat that can't find his way home, and he stinks. You know, it's some old fucking alley cat. You know,
I will say though, I was able to track like everything Price was doing and follow it. And when the moment came, I jumped in there, and like this was crazy to me, because normally when I would enter into trades, oftentimes I would have the direction correct, but I would jump in way too early, and then I would have to deal with all kinds of drawdown. And if I didn't size properly, sometimes that would be really painful. And man, the second I got in, it just started dumping, and I ended up getting out. I made a little over $400 in one trade, and I was just like,
right on.
Like, this is crazy. Like this,
crazy, isn't it?
I know that what you taught me is going to change the way I trade. I wanted to trade so badly yesterday, but the markets just got completely shat on after that. Did
you see my thing in the morning, right?
I did. The problem is I woke up late, and I saw that you had already like got your bag and gotten out. And then by the time I looked at the chart, I just see like how destroyed it got because of all the news of potential interest rates.
Yes, but we don't. But I taught you that doesn't matter. I showed you, without going into detail, but I showed you something before that you should have recognized, because I sent a photo, and then what in the hell happened?
I agree with you. The issue was I wasn't up early enough. And after I saw that move, I knew, like, from experience, I was like, anyone that jumps in is going to try and like catch that retracement is just going to get chopped up, because it's Friday and they're going to close the market. And that's exactly what happened. It just like went rocketed in one direction and then just consolidated. I was like, whatever, I'll just have to wait until the market reopens next week. Did
I give you the right direction looking on that?
100% did. It did exactly 100%? What you said it would. I just so unfortunately.
Now you know why I'm not allowed 20 accounts.
Yeah, no.
Because 20 accounts, I would have broke the bank.
It's like in a casino, right? Like, it's not illegal to count cards, but it's frowned upon. And most casinos, if they think that they call them advantage players. If you've got a true advantage or a true edge in the market, they don't want to take your money. They don't want you to play. They're like, you can go play the slots, but you can't. We don't want you doing blackjack anymore. And I think a lot of these prop firms and stuff are the same. It's like, yeah, they'll do payouts here and there, but if someone is actually consistent and knows how to get consistent payouts, like, they don't really want you around there. It's not good.
Well, their system would pick that up, right? Like if they're having people on TV that can't pick a direction other than guess 50% of the time, because I don't tell you that just win more than you lose, and we're not a 50% type of group. We're a dead on type of group. We're a risk starts before the execution of a trade, and I've said this numerous times, and you've watched some videos.
Another thing that didn't make sense to me until you actually like started showing me everything. Now I get it. I get what you mean by risk starts before.
Okay, so without giving up any sauce and stuff like that. So now, what are your thoughts when people used to say that I have poor risk management, I don't understand what's going on in the market, and when you hear other people say, I got out of this trade and I had a $6,000 stop loss, and I got out when I was down 2,000, and my risk management skills, I cut my losses short. How do you feel about that after the 2 days that what I've showed you, when these people try to justify them taking a loss when they don't even know where the hell they're at in the market?
Yeah, I think that's the key part right there, is that I think a lot of those statements that they make and practices they do make a lot of sense when you don't actually know what you're talking about. Because if you do know what direction you're on, and you truly can predict which way price is going to go, you would act differently. You'd manage that trade differently. But these people, they don't really know, they're guessing. And so there is a lot of, they're having to put their stops in certain places or make those statements like, you just need to win a little bit more than you lose. And it's all probabilities and all these things. It's like, I remember you making fun of the book, like The Best Loser Wins or something. You're like, we're not here to be losers, good losers. Like, we're just here to win. And I think it's the way that you trade, the confidence that you have in your trading just shows me that you have, you can do that because you're not just making this up. It's not on like a hunch, You can go in heavy into a trade without a stop loss and feel confident doing that because you know where you're at in the market, where someone else, they're really gambling. And if they don't put their stops properly, like the count becomes the stop loss, right? They're just blowing up their counts. So yeah, I will say that I'm going to look at a lot of those statements now differently as like a smell that, that person they still haven't quite figured it out.
Mm-hmm. And it's very difficult because I did talk to you about, or I did send you some information on the illusory truth effect, right?
Oh, I loved that, by the way.
So explain a little bit about what your thoughts were. Like I prepped some information to get your mind and your thought process a little different. I do things a little different too.
Yeah.
And I told you before we met to forget everything that you've learned. And you probably said, who is this guy? Yeah.
I mean, normally when people say that kind of stuff, I told you, I feel a little bit, suspicious, because I'm very into, I told you, theology and all this stuff. I'm like, am I like getting into a cult here or something? Like, what's going on?
You are. You're so, the algo.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be open. The fact of the matter is, like, I don't know how to trade properly because I don't have consistent results. I've had a fair amount of big wins, but then I've had some big losses. Like, it's all over the place. I haven't actually honed it in, so I can't really be married. I've learned from life's experiences that you got to hold on to your ideas, like kind of like not too hard, like just always be open to new information. It was obvious going into this, I had a lot of inadequate ideas that had like filled up my mind that were just that were not serving me. And before we even jumped on the Zooms and we're going through the process, you sent me articles, you sent me like various quotes from different people, a lot of Einstein quotes, and I really enjoyed that. The one that you mentioned just now on the illusory effect, like I know that's real. Like, it effectively says, like, when we hear something through repetition, we will oftentimes confuse that to be truth because because we've heard it over and over and over again. It may not, in fact, be actually grounded in any kind of empirical truth. There's no evidence to back it up, but because we've heard it over and over again, like, we'll just take it to be a fact. And there's a lot of that in the trading industry. Like, I just think there's a lot of people that see trading content, they absorb it, and then they think that they can do the same thing. And so then they go and they regurgitate a lot of the same stuff that everyone else is saying. And so it's just a lot of people just regurgitating the same nonsense. But I mean, it should be common sense. Like, if more than 90% of traders, they say that like 99% of traders, like, within the first year will blow all their money and quit, and the ones that even survive after the first year, like the ones that can actually trade consistently and make money and turn it into like a living it's very thin. Like, it's very difficult. You could say skill to develop, especially if you don't know what you're doing and you're just absorbing all this stuff from other people. But it should be common knowledge, like, or you should just be able to look at the landscape and say, hey, if most people are unprofitable and most people are repeating and doing all the same things, why would you think that any of that stuff would work? If the majority is all trading and saying things in a certain way, but we know for certain that most traders are unprofitable, like, it should be obvious that stuff doesn't work. What is it that people aren't saying? Like, what is the stuff that is not being said? And
they're gambling. They're gambling and saying it works because if someone has a positive cash flow coming in, they're selling a course, they're selling videos, they have a signals room. Yes. I mean, you see how I trade, you see how I teach. I could have a signals room tomorrow and probably be one of the best signal rooms in my honest opinion. I'm biased, but I know how to trade the market. I could have a signals room and literally do very well at it.
Yes.
But I want to teach people how to fish and not follow. That is my primary goal. And you will see a lot of discords. You will see a lot of communities that socialize, or female traders, and nothing against female traders. But when you start to, start doing videos where you're getting out of bed in the morning and, catching the eyes of the younger crowd, and it's, to me, that's not trading. It's a professional sport.
Yeah, it's like lifestyle vlogging and
yeah. I mean, and then all of a sudden, so if I can take tens of thousands of trades over and over and over again and still be around, that ought to tell you that, it's not about money. And I've said this before, and I've said it with you also. It's not about how much money you have. It's your skill your skill can be worth millions and millions of dollars.
yeah.
You can have a zero in your bank account and you have a skill that is worth millions and millions. You can start at zero each day and work up. You can use it for investments or whatever. But unfortunately, we have these groups and we have these new fake, I say they're fake, in my opinion, that, they have the order flow, they have the volume. And if I show you candles that are fake, and if they're fake, then how is the volume accurate? How is the order flow accurate? Because they don't know that the market is fake. And if you knew the market was fake, then you wouldn't use those things, because they're giving you fake information. And then all of a sudden we go to platforms. And if the platform slippage is huge, you have to really learn how to trade. Because the money that I've taken from these prop firms legally, just imagine how much money I really had to make to take it, with all of their slippage, with all of their evaluations prior to me getting the payouts. And then the slippage, hitting the button and I'm up 2,000, now I'm down $60. That is not real. That's not real in a real live market. No, that doesn't happen, traders. I'm here to tell you it doesn't happen. So it's a system that we signed up for. It's a system that we're trading on because you paid a contractual agreement. Unfortunately, when rules become subjective, the reason that you have prop firms, in my opinion, that have subjective rules is because they themselves have a subjective trading style. That's a fact. Because if you had an objective trading style, then you would not have subjective rules.
Yeah.
The rules would be applied across the board. If they were truly looking for traders, bear with me, if they're truly looking for traders and skillful traders, those rules would apply across the board to everyone. They would be transparent on the computer, and the computer would let you know, the dashboard would let you know where you're at, what rules you violated automatically, without hesitation. That is looking for skilled traders.
Yeah, no, but
What is your opinion on that after I've shown you objective trading, how I approach these prop firms in a sense that I get banned, right? And then they come up with these excuses why we ban traders.
It's just more confirmation that you actually have the skill, because they're running a business and they don't want to be paying people out. So like consistently, they know that the odds are in their favor. It's like a casino, right? Like if I go to Vegas pretty often, I do like playing blackjack and other things, poker.
I like that.
You go there and they will give you incentives to want to come back. They'll come, you get a free night stay and XYZ. And they know that, yeah, you may get some wins, but over time, the longer that you sit at the table, you're eventually going to give all that money back. And I think prop firms are the same way. They know that by and large, the more people are trading, especially within their systems, which, like you're saying, like their rules aren't consistent. They're constantly tweaking rules based off of the individual rather than making it consistent. They're doing this to kind of put the squeeze on people. And they know that over time, if they massage their rules just right, they will be the ones that are making all the money, just like a casino. And so there's not a lot of true prop firms that are out there that are trying to create like a relationship with the trader, and that they're trying to have it be mutually beneficial. Like, I have no problem with prop firms making money, but like, there's got to be mutually beneficial. They can't like stack the deck so far against you to where like it makes it almost impossible to trade, So I think I'm not surprised that so many of them don't want to do business with you, because you're too good at it, So
the 2 days. So you were skeptical. You paid for what? The 2-day event?
Yes.
So you were contemplating on the 2-day or the extended mentorship. You had reached out. What are your thoughts about going through the 2-day event? And you're on it.
Absolutely loved it. I've already have been seeing the charts differently. I've been going back into the charts and doing exactly what you said, like training on still charts. And it's shocking, like how repeatable what you taught me was. It was 100% worth every penny. my only regret is I guess I didn't do it sooner, because I encountered you probably around maybe like 6 months into my trading journey. And
for a year ago, probably over a year.
Yes. And well, so it's been, I think, a little over a year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I've now, let me get my timelines right, because I've now been trading for about 2 years. Mm-hmm. And so I just wish I had actually gone through this sooner. I mean, at the time, I don't even think you had a website or anything, but we did communicate a little bit on Discord when you said like, hey, if you ever want to actually learn, hit me up. I wish I had, because I do feel like, I don't know. Here's what I will say. Like, but
that was after, I mean, because I never ever solicited anybody.
No, you didn't solicit.
I never solicited anybody anywhere. There's been so many traders that have reached out to me wanting me to trade or wanting me to teach them when I was in another community. And that's not my place nor my style.
We had both already had left the group, and I sent you a message and we had just communicated. And that's when it came up. You're right. You never solicited in the channel, but my thought was, to some degree, like, I am glad that I had some type of experience. I think that if I was completely brand new to trading, I think it would have been maybe a little bit hard to digest even some of the stuff that you were saying, because you need to have like basic awareness of like how to use the tools and like what stuff is. And I've learned some stuff that I felt like when we met, I was ready to just absorb everything that you were sending my way. But I do think I wasted some time. Like I wish I had been on the path.
Did you learn the right stuff? Huh? Did you learn the right stuff when you were prior?
No, not necessarily in terms of strategy, but I'm saying in terms of like just how to navigate like different apps and how brokers work and things like that. What's a prop firm? Basic
how stuff. To enter the trades and stuff.
Exactly.
Like that. Yeah. And that's why in with Breathing with the Markets, I teach. I don't charge for that, but I teach the mentees about prop firms and continued education about prop firms, about sizing, about this is not a one and done place. This is not a nickel and dime place. I will say too that I really appreciated that, because the way that you spoke to me did make me feel like you were invested in my success, that this wasn't just like a business transaction. Like, we're going to do this for X amount of hours and then good luck. I wash my hands clean and I'm out. Like you've already gone beyond what I was anticipating from the initial, you'd say program as it was kind of outlined on your website. And, I'm really excited to I feel like I have somebody in my corner that actually knows what they're doing, and it gives me more confidence, because I've essentially been flying blind for 2 years now. Well, there's an unwritten rule of Breathing with the Markets, and that's there's no quitting. We never give up.
No, we're
going to learn a skill, and you're going to learn a skill. I cannot make you, and I cannot tell you, but we go from A to Z and from the bottom up. And we don't quit. I mean, you paid for education. In your honest opinion, I mean, there's a lot of education and stuff out there, but in your honest opinion and all of the information that I gave you, do you even see a need to seek further education in a sense that how much do you need to know?
Not at all. It's, what I need is it's just the reps, right? Put in the practice and just do it day in, day out, because, what you've shown me is sufficient enough system that I don't need to venture out of that. I just need to stick to what you showed me and just do it over and over and over again to where it becomes automatic. Like for you, like I'm sure you, like you said, you could just open up an instrument and instantly if the trade is there or not. And like, I just need to, practice and put in, the reps to get that experience so that I can have that same, level of confidence. I have no desire to venture out. It's like, I'm just going to stick to what you showed me. And, I'm really excited, Rich. I'm really excited. I'm literally, it's the weekend right now, so the markets are closed, and watching the clock is like watching a paint dry or grass grow. I'm like, I want the markets to open so like I can actually put into practice a lot of the stuff that you've taught me. That said, I am using this opportunity to visit the still charts and to practice that way.
I used to love the weekends because I didn't have any distraction of the market being open. When we had our mentorship, during the day or whatever, looking at a chart is just like really, really hard for me to not start grabbing accounts, because it's just,
yes, you get that itch.
I say this all the time, but nobody quite understands that somebody can just turn on a chart and understand whether they should be in the market or not. But that's just how I have gained that knowledge.
It makes perfect sense. I mean, like I told you, I do jujitsu, and so like if I'm rolling with somebody, like, or if I'm watching somebody roll, like I know, like, oh, like the submission is right there. Like if you just do this, like you can make them tap, and it could be frustrating when you're watching somebody else try and roll, and you're like, it's right in front of you. Just
yes. So when I talk about a still chart and I talk about trading, we don't go and we don't back test, and it's repetition and learned behavior of doing things over and over again, because our eyes are not going to lie to us.
Yeah.
It's something that you cannot unsee, and repetition then becomes natural, right? So if you had to explain about all of these communities talking about back testing and going back for 100 trades, and then they come up with some formula that they apparently had 60% win rate after what I've showed you, how do you feel about that? Like somebody taking 60 trades, like versus the amount of time that you're going to put in for repetition and actually understanding the way the market moves. When I say I follow the market like glue, would I be lying?
No, you put a very strong emphasis on what's price showing you in the moment that the candle's being printed. And like, you talk about the, like your trade is on like essentially your right hand. And then like you don't, I guess what I would say is that I think all the people that are going back and doing the back testing, it's just another sign that they still have not quite figured it out. They're going back and they're doing the simulator and stuff and trying to trade to test a particular strategy. But I always had a problem with doing that also, like replay mode. I've done my fair share of it in the past, but it's so different than the live markets, because like, let's say you're using it on trading view, for example, like you can't even really go down into on some of the charts, on some of the instruments, you can't go down into some of the lower time frames, like the 1 minute time frame, because the data is just not even there. And so you have to go on like a higher time frame, and then the way the candles print, they'll be like, say it's like 3x or something, and it'll just be like, here's a fucking candle, here's another one, where like when you're live, they're breathing, they're moving, and like it's really hard to explain that to people, because you may be watching this candle and you're like, oh, it's going down, no, it's going up, and it's doing its thing until the candle closes. But when you're in replay mode, all you're seeing is the candle closures. You're not getting all of the fluctuation that's occurring, so it doesn't feel like trading just to begin with. And also the people going back and doing that and testing their strategies, I don't know. They're still trying to find an edge. I think that
we have known influencers that keep trying to test strategies or saying this is $1 million strategy that nobody uses and it's profitable.
Yes.
I mean, we have influencers on TV that are known that have thousands and thousands of followers. And I just cringe, because that is not essentially helping those that really need the help. I mean, I just see that this information, it's frustrating to me. There's only one of me. And I do one-on-one. Did I show you any videos?
No.
Did I tell you to read any books?
No.
So it was one-on-one. It was like specific one-on-one trading. Would you agree? How would you explain that?
Yeah, no, it was 100% one-on-one. Like you don't have any kind of like syllabus. There's no pre-recorded videos. There's no, you didn't tell me to go and read all this and come back to you. Other than, I mean, the quotes that I mentioned, you shared with me in a couple articles on the illusory effect. It was obvious to me when we jumped on the call that you wanted to understand, like get a pulse of what my current level of understanding was, and then tailor what we were going to learn based off of my current level of understanding. And as we got through a lot of the content, and then you started showing me.
Well, I asked you, what do you think? What do you think this means?
Yes.
You said something, and then what did I say?
I remember you were showing me different candles and things and saying,
yeah, but without being specific details. Yeah, go ahead.
You would ask me like, what did I think about this? And what did I, it's hard not being specific, but I will say that you asked for my input knowledge and then
YouTube and whatever else.
And then we went through back in time on different charts. And after doing that, you then started showing me a different way to read the candles and a different way to.
Was it the opposite?
It was very. I don't know if it's fair to say opposite, but I did feel that way. Like I said, like the remote, the was inverted. It was very different than what I've been told. And yes, like in many ways opposites. And that's how I knew that you were onto something. And because it was different, you know? And verifiable for sure. Like
Objective.
Once you started showing me, and then we were going, it didn't matter what time frame we were on or what instrument we were analyzing, when you would be able to pinpoint and show very precisely like which direction the price was going, when it was turning. It's crazy. Like something that felt prior so arbitrary and felt like it was so unpredictable that even like machines, you know, would have difficult time interpreting the data and predicting what's going to happen next. It was like you knew exactly what was going to happen, and that was really shocking to me. Yeah, it was exciting. I was like, this is crazy that this is real. Like that.
That's what I got so much stuff inside of me. I'm like, it's like a pressure, you know, there's just so much I have inside of me that.
Yes. And I loved it. Like, as we were going through our discussions, you would build off of what you'd showed me to like show me ways in which I can gain even more confluence, you know, more confidence in what was occurring. And then all the practicing I found really helpful, you know, having me go in and do it and then getting your live feedback. Like it was, I mean, honestly, it was priceless. It was worth every penny. I know that with this knowledge, I'm going to be able to improve dramatically my consistency, you know.
Do you see yourself, whatever successful means, but do you see yourself successful in the future?
100%. I see myself. I love coding. I've been doing it since I was a kid, and I've made a career out of it, and it's afforded me like a certain lifestyle, and I've enjoyed it. I get a lot of passion from coding, but you know, as I head towards the second half of my life, I would prefer to do this full time. And I see that with the knowledge that you've given me, I see the pathway to be able to transition more out of coding and going to just more full-time trading.
And what happened when what were your thoughts when I showed you back 15, 20 years? What were your thoughts?
That this is not something that is just working in today's market right this moment. Like this is something that has existed for the entire existence of the markets. This has been here right in front of us this whole time. So it gave me confidence to know that like with high probability, this is going to persist into the future. You know, like this is not just something that works on this pair or this on NQ or whatever. Like this is here to stay. And if I fine tune this skill and just really implement what you've taught me, like this isn't going away. Like this,
So when I say that the markets, when people say, oh, the markets are always changing, therefore I have to change my strategy. And I said, oh, that's BS. Right?
Yeah, I could see why you say that. Totally. You know, people complain because they, you know, and maybe there is some truth that like markets to some degree go through, or certain cycles. Instruments will go through periods of like contraction and expansion, or maybe there'll be more, you'll see a lot more runs going on. But what you showed me would be able to work in any type of market.
Mm-hmm. That's key, right? That's
yes.
That's so the system, or what I've taught you is, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're not gonna hurt my feelings, but I don't really know how to explain it other than I'm teaching and I'm mentoring how to trade the entire market. Not a piece of the pie, not a slice, not a strategy, not an edge, but to fully understand the market.
100%. You used to say that in the channel, and it would make me laugh because you would be like, I don't want a piece, I want the whole pie. And it would always make me laugh. Like, yes, like we all want the whole pie, Rich, but like how can we get the whole pie, you know? And
well, what do you say now?
I know. And I feel like I was saying earlier, I would oftentimes enter into trades like way too early and have to deal with all this drawdown. That UJ trade I took, like as soon as I entered, it started dumping exactly what I thought it was going to do, and I rode it for quite a little ways before.
Well, not thought. You had you didn't. Yes, get
I should be more.
You thought.
I should be more precise with my language. it allowed me to take that whole move that occurred, not just a part of it, but that whole move. And I was like, I can totally see what he's saying here about getting the whole pie. Like, if you know exactly when price is about to pivot and turn, you can capitalize on like a way much larger movement. And what you've shown me has helped me to have confidence in like the entries and also the exits. Like, knowing when to get out is a skill too, you know. And so I'm really excited with this new knowledge.
I'm excited for you.
I feel empowered.
That's a great feeling. So if you had any advice for anyone, or if you even had any questions for me, go ahead and ask. But if you had any advice for any traders out there that are using the support and resistance or the order blocks or stuff like that, I had showed you without going into detail about what all these traders say about fair value gaps, and I think I've kind of put that to an end. For you to fully understand them versus what everyone says on TV or YouTube, right?
What I would say to somebody that's doing something like support and resistance, I would say, I get it. I've been there. I've done that. And it could work maybe sometimes, but developing a system to where you're using just that and you are consistently profitable over time is highly, highly unlikely. You may get some wins here and there, but you don't really have a system that's going to work for you long term, because it's like, you don't think like the people that are really like moving the market know support and resistance also. Like, they're anticipating that you have all of your entries or stops like right here at this level. And it's not that simple. It's just drawing a horizontal line on the chart. And I would say that there's a better way. And if you want to learn it, you should go and hit up Rich. Go to breathingwiththemarkets.com, hit up Rich.
And now you probably understand why I used to say that. I'm just breathing with the market.
100%. I think it's the most perfect visual to explain the way markets move, you know, the
true expansion and
contraction, and knowing how to move with that, you know, so you're not just like getting wrecked.
So, and typically we don't follow the herd, right? So when the herd's going up, that's not what we're doing, right? So without details, but right. I say this all the time, 95% of the herd is not profitable. Why are you following the herd? Right? Exactly.
Which is why, like I was saying earlier, like, why are you going to think that all the same stuff about support and resistance or whatever, liquidity sweeps and things on YouTube is going to be accurate if that's what like most people are doing?
Well, how do we even know liquidity's there? We don't. No information, right? Liquidity. And then they say, if it goes down below this low, then it's going to the next liquidity. I showed you. Guessing. Thank you. Yes, it's guessing. I showed you specifically how the markets move, right? And where the weak hand is in the market, the weakest hand in the market, and where the market has committed itself and cannot go back. Basically, it's what? How would you explain that? And then we'll wrap this.
I think that's exactly right. Like describing it as weakness makes a lot of sense. Like you're able to know the moment in which like the market is showing like its hand, like which direction it's going to go, and able to jump in at that moment. Like you talked about you said several times, like, what, aren't we supposed to buy low and sell high? But it's like, no one ever knows really, like, where is the low or where is the high. You buy here, but then price just keeps going higher. You know, you want to sell here, but then it just keeps going, or vice versa. Like it without having a true skill, without having an understanding of the way the markets are moving, you're just guessing. I think it's going to go to this level. You know, if it breaks this level, I think it's going to go down to this one. Like you're just guessing. And, you know, maybe you can catch some wins that way, but you're going to have a hell of a time being able to do it consistently over time. Like, you've been doing this since the 90s. And so it's time tested, you know?
Yeah. So
knowing exactly when is the moment to buy low, where is the low point and where is the high point, and knowing like that's that moment of weakness, and then knowing to just jump in at that moment. Like have
I shown you that?
100%. Like I said, like with that UJ trade, it immediately started going in because I was able to correctly identify the weak hand. And I was like, and I was just waiting for the confirmation. And when I saw it, like, bam, I jumped in, didn't have a stop loss. And I felt really confident about it. And it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. It was crazy. I was like, dude, it was such validation of what you were showing me. I'm like, this 100% works.
Nice, nice. Well, I'm really happy for you. And this isn't our last conversation, and nor our last education or touch up or a group session, because I do have some group sessions. I'm going to continue to have those, not Discord, but so traders can meet traders, and we talk about what's unique about the group session, and you can clearly understand is that no one in the group can fool anyone as to why they got into a trade, because if they showed their chart as to why they got in or out, they cannot have an opinion, because opinions, we don't trade on an opinion, right? So you would know immediately that if say you traded and you said, hey, I made X amount of money, and it's not about the money. Let's just say this is a skill first channel. It's not about the money. But you say, hey, I traded and I made, 5,000. I say, hey, cool, let me see your trades, and you're like, oh, well, so I wouldn't be able to fool you and you wouldn't be able to fool me. And that's what's unique about an objective system.
And I appreciate that. Like, if you catch a win, but it's not actually following the guidelines as laid out, like it's not really a win. You just got lucky. And I love that. I love that a lot.
And that's what I try to explain to people is someone might have the biggest win of their life, right? And be on the wrong side of the market. And what happens to that? What happens to their mental game, right? Because I've said this, how many videos, how many books keep talking about a fear of missing out? A fear of missing out, I've said this numerous times, a fear of missing out comes from a lack of knowledge in the market. Because
I do want to add some commentary to that too. Like what you showed me is not something that is like, oh, it only presents itself like, once a week or whatever. It's like, this is, you can read you mentioned like reading the charts is like a language. And once you understand the language, like the opportunities present themselves regularly. If you miss one, there's no reason to feel like, you missed out. There's going to be tons more opportunities. and I love that, like knowing like, oh, I don't have to be there in front of the charts and catch every single move. It's like the moves will be there if you're reading the charts properly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then I also say we don't work from the top down. We work from the bottom up, right? So a top-down analysis, I basically kind of threw that out the door, right? Have you done your top-down analysis before? Have you went from your daily to 4 hour?
I've done it a ton, but not since we've chatted. Like, yeah, I would always.
Do you understand what I'm talking about when I dispute that? Like, you're going to look at a daily what?
Yes.
For what?
No, I know. I was one of those people. I'd go on like the weekly and daily and the 4 hour. I'd try and identify like key zones that seemed important. I would then go in on like a lower time frame, the 15-minute or whatever, look for some sort of technical setup and enter. Like it is not that way at all anymore. I've realized like that's not necessary. Not only is it not necessary, it's actually backwards.
And what do? Everyone on 99% and probably 100% are all doing this top-down analysis in bigger time frames. Did I take you, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up, did I take you from a daily and show you something where price would turn? I took you from a daily all the way down to the 1 minute or even the seconds, wherever I said where we have to stop, and there was a reason why we had to stop. Did I show you something that's like really crazy?
It's crazy because it appears.
How would you describe what I did?
I would say what you showed me is how these without going too specific, these patterns, these indicators. Indicator's a loaded term because people might use that. People might confuse that with like a indicator that you install or something. You've shown me that
a gem in the market, right?
A gem. Exactly. You showed me this gem and that gem presents itself on every time frame across time, and so, I mean, I suppose like if I really wanted to, I could look at higher time frames if I was interested in doing like swing trading or something. But it's there on the 1 minute chart. It's there on all.
It went from the daily all the way down, right?
Yes.
So basically, I located the gem on the daily and broke it all the way down to the 1 minute, down to the tick.
Yes, and so I could get in during like one session and know where the weak hand is and hop in. I don't have to like be doing all this painstaking top-down analysis, like, trying to predict, if price does this or that, then it's like I can just pay attention to what the charts are doing in that moment and wait for the moment to come to me.
And this is why I say when people say, "Oh, it's the daily is stronger than the 4 hour and the weekly stronger than the daily," but
that makes a lot of sense to me too now, because like if price is
reverse
turn in reverse, on the higher time frame, it has to happen first on the lower time frame. So you'll see the turns start to happen on the 1 minute, the 1 minute, the 5 minute first, and then it'll essentially paint over time on the higher time frames. but those are all lagging. What already happened?
When they say, well, I don't use indicators, but because they're lagging, and I've showed you examples of what we do, how we do it, and why indicators are backwards, but everyone talks about all this lagging price, but yet they're doing a top-down analysis, or they're doing support and resistance, supply and demand on a 4-hour chart, but a week ago.
Yes.
So
are you going to take that analysis from the daily and then try and implement it on like the 5-minute chart or something? It's like you're it seems comical now that we've spoken, but it was something I used to do every day,
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, thank you. I mean, thank you for your time, and I'm sure the community is going to like the video, and you're genuine. All of the mentees, not all of the mentees want to come on and do a recording, and I get it. Some people are camera shy, and some people just, for whatever reason, but this also gives you a baseline of where you're at in your skill, at your skill level and stuff like that. And I'm confident in you, and I'm here for you as much as you need. And my goal is to change one life at a time. And that's what my goal is.
Thanks a lot, Rich. I appreciate everything that you've done for me so far. And this was fun. I'm looking forward to future chats.
There you go. And good luck. Trade safe. And remember, practice and hone in that skill. It is a skill. You're going to see yourself get better and better each day, each month. And you will see it, and it's going to be so simple for you eventually. Remember, leverage is the same as your skill level using this system, right? So when people say, "Oh, somebody's over leveraging," it depends on your skill level, right? So you can have leverage up here and your skill down here. That means you're gambling, right? You're gambling. So if your skill level and your leverage is up here, then it's equal. You've worked your way up to that point, right?
Makes total sense. It's like
now it does, correct?
It's like, speak for yourself. If you think I'm over leveraged, like you probably don't get enough leverage,
Well, when I use leverage, they're like, oh, I have a $2,000. I'll get in there with 5 mini contracts, and then all of a sudden a $2,000 drawdown, and people automatically assume somebody's gambling or because they don't understand it, right?
Right.
But if I'm honed in on a skill, or a golfer if a professional golfer only has one shot, he could probably hit the ball with his eyes closed.
Totally.
Right. So, just take your base hits, get out and practice. All right.
Will do, man. I'm so excited. Take care.